We've all heard it. Strokes come without warning. But here's the truth. That's a myth. In fact, the body often gives off quiet clues weeks before a stroke hits.
Exactly. These warning signs don't always show up as dramatic chest pain or slurred speech. Sometimes they sneak in as small changes, like sudden fatigue, weird vision blips, or even just feeling off for no clear reason.
Welcome to the Best Life Senior Podcast, where we shine a light on what really matters for your health after 60. No scare tactics, just science and smart strategies.
And today, we're going to bust open the biggest lie about strokes. That they come out of nowhere. They don't. The body usually sends a signal. You just have to know how to spot it.
Let's start with the biggest myth out there, that strokes come out of the blue. No warning, no heads up, just boom, it hits.
That's the version most people believe, but it's outdated and, frankly, dangerous. The majority of strokes actually come with warning signs. They just don't always look like the dramatic Hollywood version.
Right. It's not always someone collapsing mid-sentence or clutching their chest. Sometimes the first clue is as subtle as a strange numbness in your hand, or feeling unusually tired for a few days in a row.
Or suddenly struggling to find words. Not full-blown slurred speech, just little slips, like forgetting names or losing your train of thought mid-sentence. It's easy to dismiss, especially if you think, well, I'm just getting older.
And that's the trap, isn't it? So many seniors brush off these early signs as normal aging. But they're not always normal. They're often neurological red flags.
Exactly. I've seen it in clinic too many times. A patient says, "Doc, I felt weird a few days before, but I didn't want to bother anyone." That hesitation can cost them everything. Mobility, speech, even their life.
So let's bust the myth right now. Strokes are often preventable and rarely silent. The body speaks up. We just need to listen.
And the earlier you catch it, the better the outcome. Studies show that getting treatment within the first few hours of symptoms can dramatically reduce long-term damage. But here's the kicker. Some of the signs show up a whole month before the stroke happens.
A month?
Yes, especially in what's called a mini-stroke, or TIA, transient ischemic attack. It mimics a full stroke, but the symptoms go away after a few minutes or hours. The danger? Most people ignore it, but a TIA is a giant red warning light that a full stroke may hit within days or weeks.
So that harmless episode could be the most important warning a person gets.
Exactly. It's not a fluke. It's the body saying, something's wrong, pay attention. And if we catch it then, if we act, we can often prevent the main event.
Coming up, we'll walk you through the specific symptoms that tend to show up weeks before a stroke strikes, and why they're so often mistaken for things like low blood sugar, fatigue, or just a bad day.
If you've ever felt dizzy standing up, had blurry vision on one side, or noticed that one arm felt heavier than the other, don't miss this next part. These are the clues most people ignore.
All right, let's get into it. You said some stroke symptoms can show up weeks in advance. What exactly are we talking about?
We're talking about the small, quiet signs, the ones that don't send you to the ER but should. Things like unexplained fatigue, where you feel drained even after a good night's sleep, or suddenly having trouble with balance or coordination.
So not collapsing, but maybe catching yourself on a doorway more than usual. Or stumbling for no reason?
Exactly. Or one leg dragging slightly, or your handwriting suddenly getting sloppy. These aren't accidents. They're subtle breakdowns in how the brain sends signals to the body.
That's powerful and scary. And I bet a lot of people just chalk that up to I'm tired, or I slept funny.
Or I must be coming down with something. But in reality, these are often neurological misfires. And when they pop up suddenly, with no clear explanation, it's a major red flag.
What about vision? I've heard stroke warnings can affect your sight too.
Absolutely. Sudden blurred vision, especially in one eye, or a feeling like a curtain dropped over part of your vision. Sometimes it's not even obvious. It might feel like you're not seeing the corner of the room clearly.
What if it comes and goes, like it clears up in a few minutes?
still counts. That could be a mini stroke, and even if the symptom disappears, the clock is ticking. A full stroke could follow within days.
So basically, Tim, don't ignore temporary weirdness. If something feels off even for a moment, take it seriously.
Exactly. Another big one? Trouble speaking or understanding speech. You might know what you want to say, but the words come out jumbled. Or someone's talking to you, and it suddenly feels like they're speaking a foreign language.
That must be terrifying when it happens. And again, easy to brush off if it passes quickly.
Which is why we're having this conversation. Most people don't realize how common these warning signs are. The earlier you catch them, the better the chance of avoiding permanent damage.
Coming up, we'll talk about the one symptom that often shows up first, but almost no one connects it to stroke. It's common, it's annoying, and it might be the body's first cry for help.
And it's not what you'd expect. Stick around. This next one surprises almost everyone I talk to.
All right, you've teased us long enough. What's this strange symptom that can show up before a stroke, but almost nobody connects it?
Would you believe sudden hiccups? Not the kind after a fizzy drink, but persistent, out-of-the-blue hiccups that don't seem to stop, and especially if they're paired with chest discomfort or trouble breathing.
Wait, hiccups? That's one I've never heard.
I know it sounds strange, but here's what happens. When a stroke affects the brainstem, which controls automatic functions like breathing and swallowing, it can trigger repeated, uncontrollable hiccups.
And people probably think, oh, that's weird, and move on?
Exactly. Or they pop a mint and try to ignore it. But if it's a woman experiencing this, especially over age 60, the odds of it being stroke-related go way up. Women are actually more likely to experience atypical stroke symptoms like hiccups, nausea, or even jaw pain.
So we're not just talking about numbness or slurred speech. We were talking about things that could easily be brushed off as digestive issues.
Spot on. And that's the danger. When something feels weird but not scary, people delay getting help. And strokes don't wait.
So if someone suddenly has nonstop hiccups or strange chest pressure or just feels like they can't catch their breath, they shouldn't assume it's gas or anxiety?
Nope. Not unless they want to gamble with their brain, especially if that symptom comes with anything else. Numbness, vision changes, dizziness, or confusion, even if it only lasts a few minutes.
This is eye-opening because I don't think many seniors know that stroke symptoms aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they're strange, quiet, even laughable, until they're not.
That's the truth. And listen, the goal here isn't to scare anyone. It's to say, you're not crazy. If your body feels different, trust that. It's better to check it out and wrong than ignore it and be too late.
Coming up, we're going to walk through exactly what to do if you or someone near you shows even one of these early signs. Because knowing is one thing, but taking action, that's what changes outcomes.
And we'll also cover the one question every senior should ask their doctor this year to dramatically lower their stroke risk. Most people never think to ask it, but it can be a game changer.
Okay, let's get practical. Say someone notices something strange. Maybe their arm feels weak, or their speech slurs for just a second. What's the very first thing they should do?
Here's the golden rule. Don't wait to be sure. If you suspect a stroke, treat it like one, because the brain can't afford hesitation. Call emergency services immediately. No Googling, no waiting to see if it gets better.
Even if the symptom disappears?
Especially then. If it goes away, that's a red flag for a TIA, a mini stroke. That's often your body's only warning shot. And 1 in 3 people who have a TIA will have a major stroke within 90 days, many within the first 48 hours.
So the clock is ticking, even when the danger doesn't look obvious.
Exactly. And here's a simple tool every senior should memorize. It's called Be Fast. It stands for balance issues, eyes, sudden vision trouble, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call emergency services.
Be fast. That's a great way to remember it.
It's simple, it's powerful, and it works. Even one of those signs is enough to act. You don't need to check all the boxes.
Now what if you're alone? Say it's the middle of the night and your arm feels numb or your face feels strange.
Still call. Use a voice-activated device if you have one. Don't wait until morning. Don't call your daughter first. Call emergency. Every minute counts. The earlier the treatment, the better the brain recovery.
And what about aspirin? Should people take one like with heart attacks?
That's a dangerous myth. Never take aspirin unless a doctor tells you to. If the stroke is caused by a bleed instead of a clot, aspirin can make things worse, fast. Let the ER team run the scan first.
So the steps are: call, stay calm, don't take anything unless instructed, and don't drive yourself.
That's it. Wait for trained help. And if you're with someone showing symptoms, note the time when it started. That helps doctors decide what treatments are safe and effective.
Coming up, we'll share the one question every senior should ask their doctor this year that could cut their stroke risk dramatically. It's quick, simple, and most people never think to ask it.
And we'll also talk about the silent risk factors, the ones you can't feel, but that could be quietly increasing your odds every day.
All right, Dr. Frankland, we've talked about the signs, the symptoms, and what to do in the moment. But let's zoom out. What's something seniors can do proactively to lower their risk before anything even happens?
Ask this question at your next checkup. Can you check my carotid arteries for plaque buildup? That's it. One sentence, and it could literally save your brain.
Carotid arteries. That's the pair on either side of your neck, right?
Exactly. They're like highways feeding your brain with blood. And if those arteries get clogged with plaque, it can lead to silent narrowing, a major cause of strokes.
But if it's silent, how would someone even know there's a problem?
They wouldn't, and that's the issue. There's no pain, no pressure, just slowly building blockage, until one day a piece breaks off and causes a stroke.
So this test, it's non-invasive?
Totally painless. It's an ultrasound scan. No needles, no dye, no risk. Just a gel on your neck and a technician checking blood flow through your carotids. It takes about 15 minutes.
And if they find something?
Then you and your doctor can act early. That might mean medication to reduce cholesterol or inflammation. It might mean monitoring more closely. In some cases, it could even mean a minor procedure to clear the blockage before a stroke happens.
That's huge, because for a lot of seniors, stroke risk isn't just about age. It's about what's going on inside the body that nobody's checked.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. Many doctors won't offer this test unless you ask. Not because they're careless, but because the symptoms aren't always there. And the system focuses on what's urgent, not what's quiet.
So by speaking up, by asking that one question, you take your health into your own hands.
That's it. Be your own advocate. Say, I'd like to check for silent stroke risk. Can we scan my carotids? It's simple, smart, and it could buy you years of healthy, independent living.
Coming up, we'll talk about the surprising stroke triggers that have nothing to do with cholesterol or blood pressure. Things like poor sleep, certain medications, even dehydration.
And one of the biggest ones, loneliness. You don't want to miss this next part. It's not just about what you eat or drink. It's about what you feel.
We've covered the physical side, things like clogged arteries, blood pressure, those mini strokes that warn us. But I want to talk about the curveballs, the stuff that doesn't show up on lab tests, but still raises stroke risk.
And there are more of those than most people realize. Let's start with one that surprises almost everyone. Chronic loneliness.
Loneliness?
It's more dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Studies show chronic loneliness increases stroke risk by up to 32%. And it's not just about feeling sad. It triggers stress hormones, inflammation, and even raises blood pressure.
That's staggering, and it makes sense. I mean, when people feel isolated, they often stop moving, stop eating well, even stop taking their meds.
Exactly. The brain doesn't just run on oxygen, it runs on connection. And when that's missing, everything from sleep to immune function starts to slide. That silent stress wears on the body and the brain.
So what's the fix? More phone calls? Social activities?
Absolutely. Call a friend. Join a walking group. Say yes to lunch, even if you don't feel like it. Connection is medicine. And here's the twist. It doesn't have to be in person. Even meaningful online connections can help.
That's hopeful. Now, you mentioned sleep too. How does that tie in?
Poor sleep, especially if you're getting less than 6 hours a night, raises your stroke risk by almost 25%. And if you snore heavily or wake up gasping, that could be sleep apnea, which spikes blood pressure and robs your brain of oxygen all night long.
So you're getting rest, but your body's still under stress.
Exactly. And most people with sleep apnea don't even know they have it. If you wake up tired every day or your partner says you snore like a freight train, it's time to talk to your doctor.
All right. Loneliness, sleep. What else is quietly raising stroke risk?
Dehydration. Seniors lose their thirst signal as they age, and when you're even mildly dehydrated, your blood thickens. That puts extra pressure on your heart and increases the chance of clotting.
So something as simple as sipping water throughout the day could help keep the blood flowing safely?
Exactly. Add in a few high-water foods like cucumber, oranges, lettuce, and you're helping your heart and brain with every bite.
All right, we've talked symptoms, silent risks, and scary moments. But let's shift to something brighter. For the senior listening right now thinking, what can I actually do about all this? Let's give them a plan.
Yes, something simple. Something you can start tonight. I call it the Brain Strong routine. It's 5 small habits that protect your brain, improve your energy, and lower your stroke risk without turning your life upside down.
Sounds great. Walk us through it.
First one, hydrate before coffee. Start every morning with 8 to 12 ounces of room temp water. Bonus points if you add a slice of lemon or a pinch of sea salt.
We've said it before. Coffee first thing dehydrates you. Water first gets the system flowing.
Exactly. Next, move your body within the first hour of waking. You don't need to run a marathon. Just stretch, walk a few laps in the hallway, or march in place during the news. Get the blood flowing.
So movement plus water equals a brain that wakes up strong.
Right. Third habit, eat a brain-friendly breakfast. Think protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Eggs with avocado, oatmeal with walnuts, yogurt with chia seeds. This balances blood sugar and keeps your brain fueled.
Instead of spiking and crashing with toast and jam, right?
Exactly. Number 4, connect with someone. A call, a visit, a quick chat with a neighbor. Social contact lowers stress, boosts feel-good brain chemicals, and protects against stroke-related inflammation.
Even a 5-minute phone call counts?
Absolutely. The key is meaningful connection, not scrolling, talking. And the last one? Wind down smart. 90 minutes before bed, limit screens, lower the lights, and sip something warm and hydrating. Chamomile tea, bone broth, a little cucumber water. Let the body relax.
So it's not about making huge life changes. It's small shifts that stack up.
Exactly. And here's what I tell my patients. If you do just 2 of these a day, you're already moving in the right direction.
That's encouraging. Because the truth is, most stroke risk comes down to small daily choices. And that means we have more power than we think.
Completely. You're never too old. It's never too late. The brain can bounce back. The body can adapt. And prevention doesn't have to be hard.
Here's the truth that sticks with me after everything we've talked about today. The body always speaks. The question is, are we tuned in enough to hear it?
Most people think illness comes like a lightning bolt. Sudden, random, unavoidable. But stroke, like so many other conditions, often starts with a whisper.
And those whispers might sound like, you're more tired than usual. Your words didn't come out right. Your arm feels heavy today. They're easy to ignore, until they're not.
But the good news, once you start paying attention, your body becomes your partner, not your enemy. It gives you signals, warnings, even second chances.
And it doesn't take medical training to notice those changes. It takes awareness, curiosity, self-respect, a willingness to say, that was weird, let me not brush it off this time.
Exactly. You don't have to live in fear, but you should live with attention, because early action saves lives. It saves mobility, memory, independence, all the things that matter.
And if you're listening right now, thinking maybe I've missed some of these signs, don't beat yourself up. You're here, you're learning, and that means you're already ahead.
It's never too late to tune in, to speak up, to make a call, to change one small habit. Prevention doesn't happen overnight, but progress does.
So if your arm tingles, your vision blurs, or your brain just feels foggier than usual, trust yourself. Your body knows. Don't wait to be sure. Be safe.
Because the real power of today's episode isn't just the facts. It's the reminder that you are in control. Stroke risk isn't fate. It's a formula, and you can shift it.
So start small. Start with water. Start with connection. Start with asking better questions. But most of all, start by listening. Your body's been trying to talk to you all along.
And when you start listening, everything changes. Your energy, your clarity, your confidence. You move from surviving to thriving.
We believe in that future for you. One where you feel strong, steady, and sharp because you finally heard what your body's been saying.
So here's to better mornings, clearer thoughts, and stronger hearts. You've got this.